Hi, Susan. It's good to see you again. Thanks for coming back in for this session.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard for me to get here. I've been super busy. My kids have not been doing well in school. One's failing, one's getting in fights, and honestly, I've had to keep going there and with work, and then also having to go to the schools. I mean, I barely got here, and I'm not sure if I can keep coming. Like, the kids are just causing so much, and then with my job, and then it's just been so rough. And my sister, I mean, I love her, and she's been great, but it's really weird being in someone else's house with your kids
Sure.
and your family. You
This
know.
this is a really big commitment for you. And I remember us talking the first week about how concerned you were about trying to fit this in with everything else that you have going on. And with you living with your sister and having kids to raise and work and all of those different responsibilities, it really is an additional time commitment. So the fact that you made it here is a really positive thing. And I think that you need to keep that in mind, that every step that you make towards doing these things are good for your own self growth and your own recovery. Because, as I understand it, there's some pretty significant things going on with your health based on what we talked about.
I mean, yeah, there is, but there's also, I mean, that problem with my kids. I mean, I really care about my kids and I want to focus on them and how they're doing in school and adjusting to moving to a new school and all that. And, right now my health is not my top priority.
Okay, well, one of the things that we can talk about and we do need to probably address at some point is your relationship with your kids and how they're doing. But for right now, let's go ahead and focus on some of the things that you identified last session that you wanted to really work on, the reason that you actually came for services. I know that it's going to be difficult, especially with all of the things going on in your mind, with all the responsibilities outside of here.
Mm-hmm.
But let's take a minute to just come together and be here in this moment now and really focus on the fact that you initiated these services based on what your doctor had recommended. And it was something that you also indicated last week that you wanted to do, which was make sure to not go on insulin.
Yeah, you're right. It is an important part of my life. So I will focus just for right now and I'll try to forget what's going on.
And I want to make sure that we understand it's not forgetting it, because it's all a big part of your life. Your children, how they're doing, your work, your sister, the stress of not having, a place of your own. All of those things create so much stress. So they don't take a back seat. But what happens is if you go on insulin and your diabetes progresses and you get worse, in areas where you can prevent that, then everything else is going to kind of spiral out of control more.
Okay.
Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
it does. You're right. Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure that we're working as a partnership. So I want to make sure that you know that I'm not trying to be right or correct. I'm trying to help kind of figure out what it is that you identified last time and where that can go. And as we work on identifying goals, we can have your children come in, or we can refer you for other services for counseling for your kids. There's a lot of different things that we can do through the scope of services. But the first thing right now is taking a look at what you have control over and taking a look at the one thing that you said overall that you wanted to identify and address, and that was, from my understanding, is your health.
You're right. Yeah, yeah. I definitely don't want to go on insulin, so I would like to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about when you said last week about you wanting this to go your way and not go on insulin, but you want to continue to do things your way. Help me understand what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, even before, I never exercised and I didn't eat a certain way, so I don't understand why now it's a problem and my doctor says I need to go on insulin for my diabetes. I mean, can't there just be something like a magic pill or something and I can just take it and then I can still do things my way and then not have to go on insulin?
I wish that that was the case, and unfortunately, there really is no magic pill. But from what I understand and from what I remember from our discussion last week, you weren't really at the point where the doctor said you have to go on insulin. If I understand correctly, it was if you don't make some lifestyle choices as prevention, then is going to increase your risk going on depression,
Yeah.
on insulin.
Yeah. I'm just frustrated because I don't think I should have to change my lifestyle just to not have to go on something I don't want to go on. Like,
And you're not the same as you were before. Once you have to change your lifestyle and change things, then you have to acknowledge, hey, there's something that's not right here. And that's a scary step to take.
just so much going on right now.
Right, right. Let's reflect on some of the things that are positive about making these changes. You said that you want your kids to do well. You say that you want your kids to, have a good lifestyle. You spend a lot of time with them. By you modeling that, what is that going to do to help your children in the long run?
I mean, I definitely don't want them to be where I am now. I don't want them to have to deal with diabetes or the possibility of going on insulin one day. So I guess by eating healthy or changing my lifestyle or whatever the doctor said, that
Right.
could help them not be in the same spot I am now.
So they're watching you, essentially.
Yeah.
Even though it might not feel like it because they're older, so they're watching you, but they are, and you're their role model. So what they say you would do to change is going to be incorporated into them, and they're going to grow up learning how to make different decisions that may offset some health risk factors. So tell me a little bit about what happened this week when you went to the doctor and when you talked to the doctor about, our last session and what we're going to accomplish through creating goals this session.
Well, the doctor said that if I work with you and I listen to what everyone's recommending, that my lifestyle will just improve. And like you said, I don't have to go on insulin, which I really don't want to do because I find it kind of pointless. And I mean, I think I can handle it, but he told me that I need to change something.
Tell me what you find pointless.
Just changing your lifestyle. There's no reason that I should have to change everything about me. I don't know. Being here, maybe.
Okay. And again, like I said before, it's a big step to come. It's time out of your day, but it's for you. And one of the things that's important to remember is with medical illness, it's really easy to find guilt once we get to the other side of it. So it's not to say that taking these steps is going to prevent you from ever having to go on insulin, but you're going to be able to know that you made those choices to at least be part of that change process.
Yeah. That would definitely make me feel, but I think being in control would help a little bit.
Okay. So if I were to ask you right now, what is the one thing that above and beyond anything else that you want to have happen or you want to change, what would it be?
Like regard to my lifestyle?
Regard to everything. What is the one thing that you would want to change if you had the opportunity to change one thing?
I mean, I think I'd want to get back out of my sister's house and have my own home because I think that would help with my stress and all of that. But I also, well, I guess not just one thing, but I mean, just feeling better and not having to deal with my worsening diabetes would help too.
Have you had symptoms as a result? Have you felt more tired? Have you had any feelings of feeling badly as a result of your eating habits and the diabetes feeling unmanaged?
Yeah, I just don't have energy for my kids. I've been going to sleep earlier, so I've been missing out on some family time, work. As soon as I get there, I'm already exhausted and I don't want to deal with customers, so.
Okay. So maybe that's one way to look at it. Rather than looking at I don't want to change this lifestyle, maybe it's, I would really like to be able to be there more for my kids. I would really like to be able to set a better example. I don't want to miss out on things. Have you considered looking at it in that perspective before?
No, I haven't, but I guess, yeah, when you put it that way, that is something I would want to focus on.
Okay. So what we need to do is a couple of things, and I want to see your comfort level. I need to get a release of information. Remember, that's that piece of paper that we talked about the first time where I can talk to a specific person on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to get one to speak to your doctor, Dr. Smith.
Okay.
So that way we can coordinate care. Now, what that will mean is Dr. Smith will take the medical component and I will take the service provision or providing you services and support component, and we'll work together. Since I'm not medical, I need to be able to hear what he's telling you, and I need to be able to hear what the recommendations are. But before I do anything, I will always contact you and let you know I'm going to have this conversation or we're going to be talking about this with Dr. Smith, so that way we can work as a team. Would that be a release of information that you would feel comfortable signing at this point?
Can I ever get rid of that paper? Is it a permanent thing?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. It is something that you can revoke at any time, which means that you can request in writing that you would like to not have us have permission to talk, us being the agency, specifically me, to talk to him. And so that's not a problem at all.
Okay, then yeah, that
Okay.
sounds okay.
So let me go ahead and give you that paper to sign. And this is your name, your date of birth,
Mm-hmm.
his information. I did put all information just so that way if there's anything in the record he needs to send or I need to send, we are able to do that. If you want to initial here and sign and date,
Okay.
that will go ahead and give us the opportunity to be able to do that. Now, what I think that you need to do is I think you need to take a good hard look at what it is that you want to change about yourself, because just by saying you're not going to be able to is not going to do anything. So, have you really taken the time to really sit down and take a look at, what the things are that you need to do? Because I think you need to make some big changes in your life.
Not really, because like I said, I don't really feel like I should have to change, but if I had to say something, maybe just trying to overall just try to do better health-wise. I don't know, like walking or something, exercising.
Okay. Well, we only have about 4 more minutes, so it's going to be really hard to go through this. So we need to make sure that we, take the time and go through this goals plan.
Okay.
And when we do that, I want to make sure that you're comfortable with the options of creating the goals, identifying the problems. If we end up taking more time, then, we do, and that's okay. But I just want you to really feel comfortable with where we are in this process.
And what was this goals plan thing again?
Well, do you remember we talked last week a little bit about how we want to identify what the biggest problem is and what then the second problem, the third problem, so we can focus on one thing to work on at a time is?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so that's what this is. This is just putting into writing what the problem is, what the goal is, how you're going to accomplish that goal, and the action steps, which are the things that you're going to do in order to be able to accomplish it.
And is this going to help me at all?
What it'll do is it'll write it out on paper so we can track it. A lot of times we do better with changes in our behavior when we're able to look at it and make change by tracking it. So it makes kind of a commitment of us working as a team, and it breaks everything down into smaller steps.
Okay. That sounds like it would help me.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start working on that. I know that from our conversation, I heard a couple of things. I know you want to work with your kids, and I know that you want to, get out of your sister's house. But the biggest things that we've talked about up to this point, and the actual reason that you came in, was you don't want to be on insulin.
No.
So what are some things that you can think of right away that would change your going on insulin?
When the doctor talked to me, he said exercise and eating right and just actually wanting to change, which is the thing I think I have the most problem with, but those are what he mentioned.
Okay. So I'm hearing exercise, I'm hearing changes in diet, I'm hearing, wanting to make some changes that are better for you
Yeah.
and for your family. That's a lot. That's a lot to try to kind of
It is, yeah.
put in, right, to a box. So maybe what we need to do is first, if you're comfortable with it, look at becoming aware and improving your overall health.
Is that going to work for me? Is it going to do anything?
You give me a little bit of feedback about how you do with breaking things down into smaller steps. Is that something that's effective for you, or do you feel like it's hard?
Well, when I'm so busy right now, that would probably be better just because I don't know if I can handle anything big at this moment.
Okay, so what we'll do is we will make it smaller. We'll break it down into smaller steps. And sometimes you're going to have homework, but as we start out, what we'll do is we'll make the homework something that's easy to integrate into your day. So you won't have to take any extra steps.
Okay.
So since you're having a difficulty committing to healthy lifestyle choices,
Mhm.
the first part is the problem. So we know that you're having healthy lifestyle choice problems by what you're telling me, eating and exercising and things like that. So that's the problem.
Okay.
So then the goal is going to be, we're going to improve your healthy lifestyle choices. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, do you even have diabetes? You look healthy. Do you really know like what I should be doing to help myself?
I don't have diabetes, but I have other health conditions, and I have to work to make sure that I'm maintaining my own health, and I do similar things.
Okay. So you do know what you're talking about.
I try. So, how many times a day would you say that you make a good decision, like towards your health, like improving it?
I mean, not a lot. I try to, I mean, at least eat something healthy once a day, like an apple or something. But so maybe once, maybe twice a day.
Okay. So if we said that you do it one time a day
Mhm.
and we wanted to increase it to 3 times a day, is that something that would feel reasonable for you?
I guess, yeah, that would be
Okay.
not too hard.
So what we would do for the objective is we would say that you're going to increase your healthy lifestyle choices from 1 time a day to 3 times a day. And we have to track it. So one of the things that you could do to track it is journal it. And then we can talk about it during session. Is that something you would be comfortable with?
I mean, that sounds like extra work. Do you think that's something I could do?
I do, because it's really easy. It's just, ate an apple today.
Oh, okay. Then yeah.
And the date.
Yeah, I could probably do that.
Okay. And we want to look at how you're doing on this and give it a time period. So I think like 8 weeks out is a really good time to reflect and review how you're doing in that.
That's not, you don't think is that long enough or?
I think it is.
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm telling you that is because 8 weeks is usually a good time to monitor and review changes in behavior.
Okay, then that sounds reasonable, I
Okay.
guess, yeah.
So then the action steps are how we're going to get there. Okay?
Okay.
So we're going to start with 2. The first one is, one of the things you're going to do already is make an appointment with your doctor
Mm-hmm.
and go over a good dietary plan for diabetes. Okay?
Okay.
And then the second thing you're going to do is bring in that journal, and you and I during session are going to look at that together, and we are going to identify barriers on how you were having problems, making those goals. And we'll just stop there, so that way you have some really good opportunity to just start integrating it a little bit at a time,
So we get to talk about it?
so we can talk about it.
Okay.
How does that sound?
That sounds good. I think it will relieve my stress a little bit that it's something only I have to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think that these are good small steps, and we'll work on it more next week. So
Oh.
it was good seeing you today. I'm glad you came in,
Thank you.
And-
Good seeing you too.
and thanks for being a partner in this. I think that you're going to make some good progress.
Thank you. I hope so.
You will.
All right.